Please subscribe to The Old Fools, listen to it, and tell all your friends. We need all the friends and listeners we can get.
You can subscribe, whatever that is, and tell people about it. Or don't. I don't give a shit.
And if you have any questions or queries or comments you'd like to make, you can email oldfoolspod@gmail.com.
My name is David Quantick, acclaimed author, dancer, singer, mother to 6. I'm the co-host of the Old Fools podcast, and here is my Old Fools podcast co-host, Ian Martin.
Hello, I'm Ian Martin, and essentially I'm just a spare old fool. Let's move straight on to our guest, who is the lovely Miranda Sawyer, accomplished broadcaster, author, and, for now, the Observer's radio critic. Hello.
Hello, Miranda.
Hi, it's me. And I'm reviewing this podcast as I'm on it, but only in my mind.
Oh.
How are we doing so far?
Excellently.
What do you think we're doing?
So what are you listening to at home, Miranda?
Well, it's a bit hard because I'm always listening to things professionally. But
Yeah.
I enjoy Miss Me, which is Makita Oliver and Lily Allen. I like them. Mostly because they're just really honest. And Lily Allen's had such a kind of bonkers life that you're bound to get some mad anecdote out of her every week. And I also listen to The Rest is Entertainment, which has got Marina Hyde and Richard Osman on, which is also really good. But I went to their show they did the Albert Hall. Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Susie and the Banshees.
They said it wasn't like Susie and the Banshees, which should have been brilliant. It was, I didn't like it. I left halfway through. But it got 4 stars in the Times, and I like Richard Osman and I like Marina Hyde. I just don't think they should play the Albert Hall myself.
Wouldn't it have been good, though, given Richard Osman's writing background, if halfway through the lights had come on and Marina had been murdered on the stage, not in real life, and the audience had to guess who would, and you bring on various people, like Richard Coles, he could be like, and various different characters from the world of podcasting.
They could have been podcast reviewers, to be honest. There were quite a lot of us.
Oh, like Theatre of Blood.
Yeah, exactly. It could have been us. Although then you should have been killing us.
If you'd like to look under your seat, and you'll discover one of you is the murderer.
It was Rory Stewart.
Again. Miranda, did we see you down on the picket line?
You did. It's fun.
Did Billy Bragg turn up? When the NME went on strike, we had to deal with Billy Bragg turning up. So has he turned up?
No, we got Mark Thomas. He turned up. We had a few people, actually. We had Grayson Perry and Jeremy Della and Michael Rosen. And so a few people did turn up. People kept popping in, which was quite nice.
Popping in. Did you have a little tent serving for Cambodian street food?
It was very close to that. You know,
Pop into our pop-up.
This is the Guardian stroke Observer. Of course, there's nice food. What are you on about? We were striking because the Guardian wants to and has indeed apparently finished off the deal while we were on strike, which seems a bit rude, to sell the Observer to a podcasting company called Tortoise. Can't believe you're not bidding. Yes, we were protesting it because we don't think that they can really support the Observer properly, and also because everything was done a little bit quietly and no journalists were involved, and no one else was allowed to bid. So everybody's very unhappy. And in fact, we're striking again.
Are you?
This week.
Good.
I love a strike. I like a protest. It's like, I just like it because you see lots of people that you like. It's like a nice gathering of people that you like.
There's the trouble with journalism. You don't get to meet each other, especially if you do things like columns.
Yeah.
You don't all sit in a big room going, Miranda, the Archers are out this week. I want you on it now.
Yes, exactly.
I'm gone, Chief. I'm gone.
Yeah, it was really fun, but it made no difference. But I'll go on another one because it is fun. I love a march. There's always a point, with strikes and marches where you go along, you have a lovely time, you hold your placard. I quite like waylaying people and giving them an interesting leaflet. I don't mind doing all that. And then there's a point where you think, after about 4 or 5 hours, you go, I'm bored now, I'm going shopping.
Last time I went on a march, I ended up with, it was one of the Stop the City marches. I don't know why I went, but I ended up with a college friend who later went on to edit Heat magazine. And I don't know what happened. We somehow found ourselves walking around the city with a large stone between us. And I think we planned to throw it at a window. But we could never quite decide which window. And after a while, we just felt stupid. And there's lots of police everywhere, and you've got to get rid of a big stone. So I think we just put it in a doorway. I was not made for protest.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the shittest protest story I've ever heard in my life.
Thank you very much.
We had a stone, and then we got scared that the police might find us in possession of a stone, and then we had to get rid of the stone.
Yeah,
Is that
what do
it?
you want?
Wow. I want fucking violence. I want some proper bloody anti-fascist.
Well, you're from the old days, Ian. What
blood.
did you do? Were you in Grosvenor Square?
Yeah, I was chucking petrol bombs and everything.
I believe you.
Grand days. John Peel was there with his crate of apples, throwing apples to everybody. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously wasn't on the picket line because of my lands, but the solidarity thing that everybody can do so easily on social media, you know, I would normally link to these stories on the Guardian or Observer site, but I'm not going to because they're on strike. Do you want to hear some of the stories that I didn't link to?
Are we allowed to share them, though? Isn't that strike breaking?
We can share. I think we can share them between now and next Wednesday.
I'll read it out in my Guardian headline voice. Okay.
Oh, God.
I worried that I was still single. Then I stopped worrying. The pet that changed me. Bilbo, who died of guinea pig AIDS. A cardigan I miss. My beloved burgundy Laura Ashley with the big buttons.
The curious thing is, I believe at least one of those, because somebody sent me an article this week about a certain charity record to do with Africa. And in the article, I kid you not, the author supported his argument by saying, and I received an email from someone saying, "You're doing a great job." And this was part of the author's argument as to how he was right.
Oh my God.
And you can't buy writing like that.
It must have been, I mean, imagine if somebody sent that, you're doing a great job, signed your mum. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
There's a thing about certain columnists, present company accepted,
Of course.
which is the thing I learned as a music. It was the I thing, that there are some articles which just have the first person in throughout. And you're like, I need some information. And what you thought is not information. And what you think of yourself is not. It's just this weird loop.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't like
the
it.
columnists are normally, there's also that thing about columnists, isn't it? Where it's, your first thought, everybody's had it. Like your second thought, everybody's had it. Like you've got to go to the third thought and you've got to do a little bit of reporting. And then you can, it doesn't matter how funny you are. You've got to do a little bit of reporting and then you can write the column. But most people just don't bother. They think, I had a thought. Let me tell you my thoughts.
So what's been on your mind, Miranda Sawyer?
Well, what has been on my mind, and I would gamble has been on many women's minds.
Uh-oh.
It's the... It's the, I suppose, do we call him an assassin?
Yeah.
The apparently young and apparently quite good-looking man who allegedly, we don't know, it's not for sure, shot dead a man called Brian Thompson, who's the chief executive of United Healthcare. And then the guy disappeared on a line bike and dumped a bag in Central Park and then got a cab and got on a bus and disappeared. Okay, so obviously that's a terrible thing. This should not happen.
But.
Sorry, it's the but.
Yeah.
There are two factors to this but. Okay, one is the guy that was shot. He is the chief executive of United Healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
And American healthcare is just mad. It's so mad. So people diligently take out insurance and they pay their bits, they pay their money every month. And then they try and claim on it because, they have an accident or they go to hospital, they get taken in an ambulance. And the insurers go, no, I'm sorry, we're not going to do it. And in fact, it was discovered that this particular healthcare company uses AI, which means that they deny 90% of the claims. Yeah. So everybody's kind of a bit like, okay, not that he deserved to die, that is really horrible, but that, what he worked in was not that nice.
Yeah.
And then the very significant factor is that we saw a picture of the guy who shot him's face. The only reason we saw this picture of this face was because he diligently covered up with a snood and with a COVID mask, was because he was staying in a hostel and in New York for about a week before he allegedly shot this guy. And as women do, the woman on the reception thought, I think he looks quite good looking under that mask. I'll see if I can get him to take it off. So she flirted with him. He takes the mask off and you get one clear shot from the CCTV. And he is really good looking in a Timothy Chalamet way. So now he's on the run and he'll never be found.
Why? Because he's going to be...
Because nobody...
Because women won't dob him in.
He'll be working his way across the women of America is what I think. It's just like he's always going to have somewhere to stay.
So you think like the jackal in Frederick Forsyth's novel, he's cutting some horny sways through the female population.
Yeah. What would his sexy assassin nickname be? Day of the Fuckle?
Day of the Fuckle?
Because he's the Fuckle. That's his new nickname.
He's the Fuckle? Yeah, I mean, that's it.
Are you all right?
You're all right then. After Miranda's had a go, perhaps you'd like to suggest something.
I think that's quite good because it's like, you know, he's got fuck all health insurance and he's about to fuck all the women across America.
That sounds about. If he's a hot hitman, that is like life imitating art, isn't it? Because we've got 2 TV programs on at the moment, Day of the Jackal and Black Doves, and it's Eddie Redmayne and Ben Whishaw, who are both very dishy, as we used to say in the 60s.
Yeah.
And
easy on the eye.
Yeah, they're hot. The hot hitmen. Hit hot men. Hit hot men.
The hot man.
The hot
there
man.
You go. He's the hot man.
The hot man. The hot man. Brilliant. Right.
Or a hitty.
Yeah.
He could be a hitty.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's a hotty.
You've been listening. Thank you for listening to The Old Fools. We're going to wrap it up there.
Richard Osman and Marina Hyde are listening to this thinking, you fucking play the Albert Hall with this material.
I mean, in the 60s, everyone was being assassinated all the time. I mean, I was 10 when JFK was assassinated.
So you've got an alibi.
I've got an I was 10. That's my that's my alibi. I was 10 living in Wickford, Essex. That's my alibi. But I mean, it made an impact even on my world, which wasn't dominated by news at all. It was dominated by whatever, you know, air guns, confectionery and shoplifting. But what was shocking in a way that the latest hit wasn't, is that you thought, this is the most powerful man in the world, and someone just shot him in the head in broad daylight. And you suddenly thought, could happen to anyone, like my mum or the Queen or Alec Douglas Hume or Sooty or someone. It was quite shocking.
It paved the way for the Beatles. So I'm looking forward paved
the way for the Beatles. Everyone in the pop world was saying, look, if we could just get rid of John F. Kennedy, then the Beatles could happen. We've got them here. They're waiting. They're in the green room.
It's like Tetris. Once you've got rid of the big block of JFK, beep, beep, there's room for the thin line of John, Paul, George and Ringo. Am I showing my age, or am I spray painting my age into the face of God?
So like if they they assassinate John F. Kennedy and then they assassinate John Lennon. So with your Tetris argument, what did that make room for?
Probably, I don't know who's the new hit band, Miranda. You must still be in touch with your pop roots.
Well, if you wanted a really big band, I suppose you would. I mean, but they're not new. Like Arctic Monkeys. Whenever
Arctic Monkeys.
No, I'll tell you why. It's because people always say to me, "Oh, what are the bands? There's no bands anymore." Like no, because I've talked about Britpop because I wrote a book about it. But like they go, "Oh, there's no bands anymore." I go, "Well, there is. There's Coldplay and there's Arctic Monkeys. Those things kind of sell out all the time. Do you know what I mean? So they're like they're the big bands that people will, like do those ridiculous queuing systems for those ones and then get very upset when they don't get like tickets. Otherwise, if you're just talking single people, there's loads of people. Tyler, the Creator. Well, you don't want to assassinate him. He's nice.
He sounds lovely. I just want to say Biffy Clyro because I don't know anything about music now apart from, I don't know, Blackpink. But Biffy Clyro, just whenever I think of a band, I think of a load of Scotsmen with lots of ink on their arms and Gandalf beards.
Well, yeah, that's an accurate description.
This is all part of that great thing about being very old, as I am, that kind of being very comfortable with letting go of stuff, the whole cultural, I think when people say, oh, God, I'm so ancient, I'm 29, I'm really old. You think, you stupid asshole, all the way through their 30s. But then when people get to their 40s and say, I feel really old, I totally remember that. It's the point at which I was sort of trying to hang on to some kind of cultural significance, but failing badly because I was too old. And I was reminded of this. I'm holding up
Ian
shit.
shows piece of test. Ian shows piece of paper to camera.
To listeners, I've just shown you a piece of paper. There was this thing in the FT actually printed out about the meme coin frenzy. Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
No.
The meme coin frenzy. Okay, you don't understand it already, right?
I don't know if I understand it. I don't know what it is.
Okay, I'm going to read it out. This is actually from the FT. It was going around social media earlier this week. The total market value of Chill Guy has reached 466 million since it was created 2 weeks ago. It received a boost when Mr. Beast, the world's most popular YouTuber,
I know who that is.
wrote on X last week.
All right, Lena Zavaroni. All right, Bonnie Langford.
All right, Lolly Donegan.
All right, Shirley Temple.
Shut up! The biggest meme of our
Let
lifetime.
Ian read his letter out, for God's sake.
Shut up! The meme coin frenzy has inspired others to get involved. Hayley Welch, who went viral this year as Hot Tuah Girl.
That's what?
Hot Tuah Girl.
Tuah.
You remember?
Oh, I've heard of. She's
Good.
the fellatio saliva woman.
Yeah, penis saliva woman, yeah. So last week, she'll soon launch a token, blah, blah. The market size of Peanuts, this is all in caps, P-L-U-T, has hit 1.2 billion, while Pepe, referencing a comic frog character, has a market cap of 8.2 billion pounds, more than that of British supermarket chain Sainsbury's. Hang on. Bonk. I'm not kidding. Bonk, a cartoon dog made after the... Hang on. Made after the collapse of exchange FTX in an effort to cheer up traders using the Solana blockchain, has a market cap of $3 billion. What does it mean, any of it?
One of my things is things you can't parody, because you know the phrase "you can't make it up," to which the answer is invariably "yes, I can. It's my job."
Yeah.
I've got friends and they'll do like funny band names and they'll say, penis saliva generator, all that kind of thing. And it's like you can't make up a funnier name, and it's why films about fashion never work. I know it will be funny if somebody comes on with a traffic cone on their head and instead of arms they've got poppies. It's like it's been done in the real world of fashion. That's why Zoolander works, because it goes around that. And there are like rock movies never work because for some reason all the rock stars, everybody talks like a rock critic. They go, "How was the gig?" "Well, I thought there was a bit of Bowie influence going on, but the bass." It's like, no, that's rock stars talk like this. Do Hawk Tour on me. Me bonk. But now we've reached the world, as Ian has demonstrated, when there's a certain... Miranda, you're 28. Did you understand anything that Ian said?
I did. Weirdly, I did. And also, while you were talking, when you were thinking about the names of bands that exist, and they're always, they're terrible. I remember in Select, we used to think of names of bands and you'd put two incorrect kind of terms together. So one of the ones that we used to think of was Delicate Elephant. We were like, that's definitely going to happen. And I've just remembered a band that is really big that people really want to get tickets for, don't they? And they're called Cage the Elephant.
There you go, you see.
They exist. People queue for tickets. My son said, "Can you get me free tickets?" BC represents them. Cage the Elephant. But we should talk about the Hot Tuah Girl and the meme.
Okay.
We should talk about this. All right, honestly, because I actually diligently looked it up. I can look it up now on cryptocurrency thing, right?
Well,
She
slow
crashed.
down, you're going too fast for us old codgers.
She's crashed, Miranda. Her meme coin's crashed. She's lost.
Yeah, it's crashed, but it's come up again.
Oh, God, again.
It's on the rise. Yes, I looked it up because obviously I'm a crypto
You know why it's
investor.
on the rise, don't you?
Don't. We're not... This isn't a carry-on film.
Okay.
I have got a long list of jokes that I'm not even going to do. Things are that bad that I'm not going to do a rectile financial pun.
But what I want to know is, right, if you're buying, if you're a crypto person and you think, okay, what I'm buying is a meme, and the meme is of the Hot Tuah Girl, which is like a popular meme.
Yeah.
So if you're buying that, does that mean that every time, like if I want to make a funny joke and I use the Hot Tuah meme on WhatsApp, I have to pay 0.00001p? It's not, is it? Is that true? Is that what happened?
I'm immensely flattered that Miranda asked the question, what does it mean of us?
But anyway, it's apparently on the up now.
Right.
So it was worth a lot, and now then it was worth nothing. And she was accused of pump and dump.
Pump and dump.
Pump and dump. Is that... I can't.
I know. You can't make the jokes.
It's like all bar one, Quan.
Oh, my only regret is if it had been done by a British person, it would probably be called Wank Him Off.
Oh my God. That would be very funny.
And now in financial news,
Wank him off. Wank him off, Veep coin.
Wank Him Off is stable at 7.9.
Fantastic.
Buffing the Happy Lab in its 7. Ian, I believe you were going to ask me what my topic of the week was.
Well, was I? Well, I've changed my mind.
Can't be bothered.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, come on, stop sulking. What's been on your raddled old mind this week?
Because we live in times of fear and dread, and every internet story makes the world panic. And normally it's like something like, say, declaring martial law would have you going, oh my God, the missiles are about to fly. And in South Korea, the premier declared martial law. But he basically, two things stopped him. One, the opposition voted against it, which you would think the whole point of martial law is to stop people voting against you. And two, the military couldn't be bothered. And again, with martial law, you very much need the support of the military. Otherwise, it's just law. And it's the abject failure of this. My favourite internet quote about it, and there's obviously been many jokes or memes, as I've now learned they're called, is somebody just said, Korean Prime Minister, no worries if not. Because the whole spirit of this fantastic coup was like, oh, we could not have a coup. It's fine. I don't mind. And also the fact that he did it for love, or his corrupt wife, is kind of just rubbish. Just get a divorce. See someone else.
So I didn't realize he did it for love. What was the motivation there then? Did she ask for it for a Christmas present or something?
Maybe ask someone who's read the newspapers. That's really all I've got on this topic.
Yeah, okay. And it was over in 6 hours, wasn't it? Because nobody could be bothered.
There was a lot of live tweeting, and brilliantly, a journalist editor called Sharon Jong live tweeted it while pissed.
Yeah.
And it was just lovely because it was just, there seemed to be some soldiers. It was like the Spithead Review, if you remember that. There seemed to be some soldiers. Hoc Tuah, they're carrying some guns. Oh, here's an old lady. I think it's my mother. It may not be. It may not be. All right, it doesn't sound like that.
There was a bit where she sent some photos. Did you see the photos? They were brilliant. They were so crap.
Yeah.
She was like,
I love that.
Something's happening over there, like really long distance. You know, when you look at old photos, like photos that were taken in the 70s and 80s, and they're always like of some, people on holiday, and it's like Buckingham Palace. It's just miles away, no zoom, nothing. It was like that in the middle of the night going, yeah, there you go. That's the Parliament. And you're like, this is just rubbish.
This is me with my new friend, Mario. Mario's here on business. Wink.
I've got a son and his family who live in Seoul, and the blue sky, and indeed most of social media, were aflame with this news of the declaration of martial law. All the political commentariat saying, this is very serious. This hasn't happened since the 1980s. And we need to be very, very alert for I don't know what's going to happen next. This is incredibly serious. So I emailed Dan, my son, and said, what's going on? What the fuck? And he said, he's just a plonker. He's just, it'll blow over. He's just a fucking idiot. I mean, Monty's my grandson, he's quite happy. He might get a day off school tomorrow, but it'll all blow over, as indeed it did. And the whole thing, because it was so farcical. I mean, the army was supposed to come along and stop the opposition from getting into the parliament. And there's the leader of the opposition live streaming himself going over a wall to get into parliament. Everyone in Seoul's gone in their pajamas, fucking outraged, all marching down saying, fuck you, this is not happening. And just trying to take rifles off soldiers and the rest of it. It was completely farcical. And yet again, it proves that politics is not showbiz for ugly people or whatever it was, continuation of war by other means. It's comedy waiting to happen. It's satire. It's political satire waiting to be tickled up, hot twad out of its inert political state. I mean, there was a brilliant Malcolm Tucker moment what he'd done, the President Yoon, he'd ordered the arrest of the leader of his own party, but the head of the army had refused to carry out the message. So he wanted him arrested. And then they had this press conference saying absolutely no way had he ordered the arrest of anybody. And anyone who says so, they're going to be in very, very big trouble. And then they called the journalists back half an hour later to say, okay, that thing we just said, that didn't happen. We didn't say that. We absolutely did not say that. You weren't here. You didn't hear it. Let's draw a line under it all and move on. They're absurd. They absolutely look completely, utterly ridiculous. Him in particular. Fuck him.
Well, he'll have to go now, won't he? Because
he can't.
They'll just have to have somebody else.
Yeah.
It's just weird, this sort of absorbent world, because he might not. But it'd be a bit of sort of a world in which Liz Truss's dreams came true. Like, Liz Truss will never go because there's no way to get rid of her. You can't shoot her. Unless, Miranda, you've got that assassin in your house, in the spare room. Wait,
I'm not moving the camera around.
wait, isn't that a kind of snood or hoodie? Along with that pistol and that COVID mask. But yeah. Anyway, but yeah, the Korean bloke, he'll just sneak it. You know when you've done something really bad at the office Christmas party, but you have to go to work the next day, and he'll just sneak into work and hope nobody notices. And they'll be going, and he'll sort of beetle out again and go and talk to his corrupt wife.
Exactly. They'll just give him an Alka-Seltzer and they'll just go, it's fine. It's all right. Nobody noticed. It's
Clink,
all right.
clink,
We all
fizz.
like you, really.
Or just style it out. Or just wait till the next time the Parliament's convened and he just turns up and goes, what?
Well, yeah.
What? Nobody's declared martial. What the fuck are you talking about?
There'll be the general of the army, and he'll go like, "Weren't you? What? Not my business. Not my business."
What can I say? I was a bit drunk.
You've all done it. Declared martial law. It's gone a bit gammy. Anyway, who wants to play Pokemon Go?
What?
The answer is nobody, because of course Korea still bears the scars of the Japanese occupation.
Oh, I see. Right. Very clever. Yeah.
Oh, and when I do satire, that's all I get, is it?
Yeah.
Right,
Brilliant.
that's very
Faint
good.
praise, I think they call it.
Faint praise.
They do know how to get pissed in South Korea, though, I must say. My daughter-in-law certainly knows how to get me pissed. They love these funny little soju places in the Soho-y parts of the city. They're not really spaces. They're like areas enclosed by those big flapping plastic things you have in
Tents. They're called tents.
No, they're not called tents. It's got a ceiling with flappy bloody ICU type things round them. Anyway,
Operating theatre.
God almighty.
No, but also that thing of eating some sort of inside and sort of outside.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that is how everybody wants to eat now?
Inside
Like
and
it's
outside.
like everybody wants festivals inside their city. So they have like
pop-ups.
They have street food. They have Christmas markets. I live in Brixton, and there's an entire area that used to be a market, a kind of indoor market, and all it is people sitting outside, like kind of semi-outside, on a bench with a tin tray, with like a tin plate. It's exactly like festival food. It's like everybody wants to eat. I mean, we've all been to festivals. It's not ideal. Like I don't go for food, but that's how people want to eat. They just want to eat as a festival.
I think nostalgia is a massive, massive thing in Daly. I had this idea. I still think it's a brilliant idea of opening a Cold War restaurant, brutalist building, and it's done out like the interior of a Soviet interrogation center in 1970, and it's just tin food only. They're in radioactive. All the waiters are in radioactive things. And they go through that, and they, hey, yeah, tin food, that's it, I'm out. Tanner, you've been listening to the old fools.
I think if you combine that with hardcore techno, you could have some kind of eating experience. Several men would enjoy.
There's a certain thing about middle-aged pensioner techno. Some of my friends in this part of the world, pensioner techno, it's just kind of weird because, it's one way it's great because it's a bit futuristic and robotic, but then most of the people who play it are now robotic on account of the amount of replacement parts inside their bodies. So it's not real-life craft work, like We Are the Robots. Well, I've got this, I've had my heart done, I've got a new leg. I'm rambling slightly now, but one thing that's not come back with these festival-style pop-ups is the weird lost burger van. Because whenever you go to festivals, you get like marvellous Cambodian noodles, you get Vietnamese pho, you get all the dishes of the world. And there's always a really solid van that looks like it's come from a murder at a football pitch, and it just does sausages and burgers. And it's run by one of the Cray twins' cousins. You've been listening to me and Miranda Sawyer on the Old Fools podcast with our special guest, Ian Martin. No, I was being droll. Our special guest, Miranda Sawyer. Miranda, thanks for joining us. We hope you have somewhere to work from now on. And Ian, I'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody. Don't forget to do the things that you're supposed to not forget. We'll put them in later. Bye.
A sandwich convinced me that sandwiches can be persuasive. Forget religion. I've discovered some very expensive pencils.
Giddy Goat.